Yep. It's the feature presentation radio show. Hip Hop Nation, Sirius XM. I'm DJ Sus One. Ali V's co-hosting today. Shout your Instagram, shout your social. You here?
Sorry, at Ali V. That's ALYIV on Instagram and Twitter. Follow Sus One. He's on Periscope.
They're following me.
So dumb.
So Andy Mineo's in the building tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uncomfortable in stores right now.
Right now.
Married to a Puerto Rican woman.
It's lovely.
Yes.
She's phenomenal.
Smart move.
Got a big following on Periscope. Just laced the boy. Some of them followed me immediately.
You thank me later.
Oh, you put me on? That's how
you on the Periscope. You know it. It's okay. I need 10%.
Ah, man. So listen, how do you feel about today's battle? Like, how do you feel about the Drake and Meek battle? I want to hear your opinion on that.
No, man, it was exciting. You know, everybody was gathered around their phones and everybody wanted to hear the verses and the responses. You know, people love drama. That's why there's a million fake reality shows with fake drama.
They're waiting for the ignorance.
You know, people love that. So, you know, it was of course it was exciting. It was a little bit disappointing.
What was disappointing about it?
I think obviously Meek Mill's response.
Are you a fan of Meek Mill?
I respect Meek Mill as a rapper. He can rap and, you know, he's doing his thing, but I just, you know, we expected a lot more out of a Meek Mill. You know, for one, he popped off and started talking, you know, and so
he did start the fight.
He started the fight. But then, you know, Drake, there's websites dedicated to making fun of that dude. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Drake, the type of, it's like, it's
but that's
easy.
how it is for all the greats.
Yeah, of course. But there's so much ammunition, you know, that you could talk about.
Yeah.
They didn't mention any of it. You know what I mean? And so it was a disappointing rebuttal for sure. And Drake, you know, Drake went off. So.
And the funny
thing
is,
it was exciting for hip hop, though.
You know, I'm friends with both of these guys. Well, not friends, you know, industry friends when we see each other. But Drake actually didn't go off. People say Drake killed it. He did kill it.
Right.
But he said, I waited 4 days, nigga, where y'all at? I guess this is what I got to do to make y'all rap. This was just a record to get Meek Mill to respond because people weren't responding to Charged Up like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Meek Mill responded and it wasn't good enough for him to actually come out with the super ether heat. That's what my take was on it. But let me ask you this question from Andy Mineo's opinion. So he dropped you know, records that showed that Drake had some records that was written for him or he had help on. Can you be mentioned on Sprite cans with the greats of hip hop? Being a fan of hip, I'll put you in. I'll put you in this situation.
Yeah.
Can you be mentioned in your opinion? Everybody has a different opinion. Can you be mentioned with the greats of hip hop that we love from the '90s that you said earlier in the interview?
Yeah.
If you haven't 100%, because Drake does right. Let's be clear, he does right.
For sure.
But if you haven't 100% written everything, meaning verse-wise, because people do take in hooks, can you be mentioned with the greats? In Andy Mineo's opinion.
Yeah, that's such an interesting question because there's so many good points on both sides. You know, hip-hop is the only art form, though, where we fight over this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Beyonce gets all her stuff written. Dr. Dre even gets all his stuff written. You know what I mean? I think, well, first of all, let me start. All the other genres, lots of people get their stuff written for them, and it just has to deal with the performance. You know, that we say Beyonce's are great because of her performance ability, and all these other people who never wrote their records. And I'm not saying Beyonce never wrote her records, but we know a lot of them aren't written by her.
Run the
industry, right?
Bunch, like,
people write records and collaborate together. But hip hop seems to be the only art form because it's so personal. It's like if someone else writes your raps, it's like, oh, nah, no respect. All respect is lost. So, but what's interesting is a lot of these rappers can't write hooks, and they need tons of people to come in to write hooks for them.
Hooks are written a lot.
All day.
Yes.
And they're plug and play, and it's like, oh, I got this record for so-and-so. Oh, he's not available. I'm going to give it to so-and-so. You know what I mean? And so it's a plug and play kind of thing. So there's good points on both sides.
Are you a Drake fan?
Drake is a great artist. I mean, hands down. You know what I mean? You can't deny that he makes a
well, who's one of your favorite artists? I just want to ask you this because who's one of your favorite rappers?
One of my favorite rappers?
Yeah, ever. Who's your favorite rapper ever? Ooh. If you have one.
I grew up on a couple people that, you know, really shaped. Well, you know, I listened to a lot of Jay, a lot of Nas, a lot of Eminem, and a lot of Cannabis. A lot of Pac. You know what I mean?
I used to be a Cannabis fan.
Yeah, well, I mean, we was all like, that was the rappers kind of dudes that I came up on.
What happens if you found out Hove had Memphis Bleak writing all those great verses? Now I'm just saying I want to
It
see
would-
if it was acceptable for you.
Right. Nah, I mean, it would taint what they did. Here's my biggest issue though. Like, for example, Dr. Dre never wrote his raps, but nobody cares.
But he
because
also
he's-
never claimed to be one of the number one rappers.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is you got to stop lying. Because on that record, on that same album, Drake said, I don't need nobody. I write my own. But the record before, someone wrote like 90% of your rap. That's a problem.
But he also,
if
well,
you're
yeah, I
lying.
guess that's a good point. But he also did give credit in the credits
Right.
to what's the guy's name? I forgot the guy's name. Right, that wrote it. Whatever the
Quinn.
writer. He gave credit to that guy. So
Right.
is that technically
And I guess
lying?
he doesn't need anybody. He's a good writer. But when you talk that much, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that heat is coming for you.
In
you know
my
what I mean?
opinion, he's still one of the greats. But yeah, of course, he lost some points. But I just wanted to know your opinion,
Yeah.
because I already know that how you had that statement about today's hip hop. But I wanted to know how you felt because people say he's top number one right now. You know, not
Yeah.
of the new generation, not including like of course, Hove and all these guys, but
Sure.
in the new generation, if
Right
you're
now, there's hands down. You can't say that Drake isn't just on top.
yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't deny that. No.
Well, listen, I want to play a record off your album called
Yeah.
"Hear My Heart," and this is dedicated to your sister
Right.
who's deaf.
Right.
Was she born deaf?
She was born deaf.
And we read something that at the beginning you didn't know how to speak sign language, correct?
Yeah. I actually, to this day, I'm not fluent in sign language. But
Okay.
that's what the whole record is about.
Yes,
really.
exactly. So you learned a little bit to speak to your sister?
Yeah, that's part of the rollout of
Mhm.
this song is that there's a visual coming soon. You know what I mean, to match the record, and that's part of the rollout of it. But the record was me apologizing for having never learned sign language growing up, and the visual that I have coming with it is going to help supplement that idea. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to play this record. How did you communicate with her growing up? Like, it was just through the family? Who does somebody else in the family speak sign language?
Yeah, my mom does, but my sister, she was always able to read my lips.
Oh, okay.
And I could hear her someone she would speak.
Mhm.
Some people that are deaf, when they speak, you can't make out what they're saying. But with my sister, I was able to.
Oh, okay.
And so we would communicate, through,
I
I
understand.
move my lips and she would hear me or understand by reading my lips, and then communicate through pounding on stuff or getting her attention. But she was much older than me too. So that
Yeah.
was some of the reason why we didn't connect a lot. But an experience that I talk about on the second verse is really what brought that to light for me. Was like, we were at a picnic and she introduced me to her friends and I didn't know how to respond to them in sign language. And that was that moment that light bulb went off for me, was like, they're all having conversation. I don't know what they're saying. Man, this must be how my sister feels her whole life. We're all having conversations. She doesn't know what we're saying because we're not considering her. And, I was just confronted with my own selfishness at that point. And, I think God's growing me, changing me, and stretching me, and making me a better man. I think that was part of the process.
Well, I want to play the record so everybody
Do
can
it.
hear what you're talking about.
Come
It's
on.
off the album, Uncomfortable, Hear My Heart. Andy Mineo's in the building.
Yeah.
Call him up, 877-60 Hip Hop. It's DJ Sus1, the feature presentation, co-host Ali V. Let's do it.